In the gospel text of today, which is taken from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 6, verses 14 to 29, we will read a very sad story, the story of the beheading of John the Baptist. John the Baptist in the Gospel of Mark is the precursor, is the one who goes before, is the pointer to Jesus. And even as John the Baptist is the precursor and the one who goes before and points to Jesus, he is also a witness. The English word witness comes from the Greek martyria, and martyria is translated in English as martyr, one who will witness for the truth, one who will be unafraid to stand up to the truth, one who will not back down when push comes to shove. In the gospel text of today, we will hear that story of how Herod was afraid of John the Baptist, and even though he was afraid, he liked to listen to John the Baptist because John the Baptist had something valuable to say. Herod was being challenged to choose the right path, to choose the path of the truth, and Herod was lured by falsehood. Herod was lured by lies. So Herod is caught in a dilemma. And while he is figuring out that dilemma, he gives a party on his birthday. And because he was drunk, because his courtiers were around, he wanted to be a person who shows bravado. And when the daughter of Herodias came and danced before him, he was so taken up with that external dance that he promised the girl whatever she wanted, even if it meant half of his rule and of his wealth. The girl went to her mother. Her mother had been upset with John because she was the wife of Herod's brother, Herod Philip. And Herod Philip was still alive when this Herod Antipas, took his brother's wife as his own. John the Baptist berated Herod Antipas and told him that what he was doing was not the way to proceed, that it was a sin when his brother was still alive to take as his own his brother's wife. So his brother's wife, Herodias, had a grudge against John because John had pointed out this failing to Herod, and Herod was wondering whether he should choose the truth as John was inviting him to, or continue with his false life. And because Herodias had a grudge against John, she prompted her daughter to ask Herod for the head of John the Baptist on a platter. And Herod now was worried. Herod now had a regard for John. Herod knew that John was speaking the truth, and yet Herod was weak. Herod was weak because he made a promise in a rash moment. Because he was not able to fulfill that promise, he was asking himself what he had to do. And because his courtiers had heard him make the promise, because the girl came to him with that request, he gave in once again to falsehood. He gave in once again to weakness. He gave in once again to lies, and sent to have John beheaded and the head of John given to the girl. Today's world is a world in which we are constantly being invited to choose the truth against falsehood, to choose light against darkness, to choose life against death. Like Herod, often we prefer falsehood because it is easier. We prefer darkness because no one can see our actions. We prefer death even though we are made for life. The life of John the Baptist, who really witnessed to the truth, who was unafraid to stand up for the truth, is an inspiration to each one of us. That when we are caught in this dilemma, like Herod was caught, unlike Herod, We do not choose falsehood, but we choose the truth. If you are faced in the dilemma of choosing falsehood and truth, what will you choose and why?